We're getting you some big breaking news at this point in time where the hard landing by Air India Express plane is being reported at Phuket. Well, that is the big breaking news that we're getting you at this point in time. Hard landing by the Air India Express plane while all passengers are safe after the hard landing. The hard landing did lead to damage nose area after the landing took place. Hard landing damaged the nose landing gear of the aircraft. Those visuals are on your screens right now. We are reporting about an Air India Express. The aircraft at Phuket ended up with a hard landing, although all the passengers are reportedly safe. But the hard landing damaged the nose landing gear. Those visuals are on your screens right now. You can see how the hard landing damaged the landing gear at the nose. Well, that is the big breaking news. These visuals are from Phuket itself, where the aircraft of the Air India Express suffered damages at the nose when it hard landed on. The hard landing damaged the nose landing gear. The Phuket airport has issued a notice to airmen NOTAM to temporarily close the runway from 12:08 to 6 p.m. while the authorities worked to remove the aircraft and conduct safety checks because the airport has only one runway. The closure disrupted the air traffic operations and several incoming flights were forced to enter holding patterns near Phuket, while others were diverted to nearby airports including Krabi and Surat Thani. Authorities warned that a backlog of flights could cause delays continuing into the evening and advised passengers to check with the airlines before traveling to the airport. Well, that is the big breaking news that we're getting you at this point in time. Hard landing reported by Air India Express plane at Phuket while all passengers remain safe after the hard landing. It did damage the nose landing gear and the Phuket airport has issued a notice to airmen to temporarily close the runway from 12:08 p.m. to 6 p.m. while the authorities worked to remove the aircraft and conduct safety checks. My colleague Sabyasachi is joining me right now to get us more details. Sabyasachi, we're looking at these visuals on our screens right now. The damage is clearly visible after the hard landing that took place at Phuket airport. Of course, the reason why the air traffic is bound to be affected is because they only have one runway. Take us through the details about how it's affected the air traffic in the area.
Samia, this particular aircraft was on its way from Hyderabad to Phuket, and it took off from Hyderabad at around 6:10 a.m. in the morning, and it landed at Phuket at around 11:24 a.m. Now, right at the landing, it was a hard landing, and the nose broke down, which we can clearly see on the visuals, and 140 people were on board, where 135 of them was passengers and the rest were the crew members. Now, after that hard landing, the crew made sure that the protocols are being followed and the passengers have been safely deboarded. Now, the particular runway has been closed by the airport authority of Phuket, and meanwhile, the airline also has informed the DGCA regarding the incident, and the DGCA also have ordered for an investigation into this. Meanwhile, the aircraft has now been shifted to a bay where the investigation and other checks are currently going on, and the flight has currently now been grounded. Now, the statement that has come in from Air India Express says that all passengers are safe, and there was this technical issue which occurred at the time of landing, and the nose broke down, and the statement said that all the passengers who were on board at that particular time were safe, and no one has sustained injuries. Meanwhile, the focus has now shifted to the DGCA, where the DGCA have asked the airline to carry out the investigation to exactly find out what went wrong, whether there was some earlier issue with that particular nose wheel or not. So all these reasons will come into light once the investigation takes place.
Absolutely, Sabyasachi. Thank you for getting us all those details. But what we are given to understand that while there are disruptions taking place as far as the landing at the particular airstrip in Phuket is concerned, the flights were diverted to the nearby airports, including Krabi and Surat Thani. The authorities have warned that a backlog of flights could also cause delays continuing into the evening and advised the passengers to check with the airlines before traveling to the airport. My colleague Sabyasachi still continues to be with us. So Sabyasachi, take us through the flight diversions that have been reported. Where were the other flights that were set to land in Phuket diverted to?
The flight diversion is taking place, and currently we have received inputs from the DGCA sources. Now, the DGCA sources says that all flights scheduled to land at Phuket is now to use alternative airports or delays. Now, passengers affected may contact the airline, is what the DGCA sources tell us. Meanwhile, the DGCA says that the plane has been AOG, which means the aircraft has been on ground for further inspection and for further checks to ascertain whether there was previous technical issues with the aircraft, whether at the time of the landing all clearance.
To interrupt over there, kindly stay with us. I'm going to come back to you to allow you to complete that statement. But Mr. Alok Sahai from the aviation expert is also joining me right now. Mr. Sahai is an aviation expert. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for taking your time and joining me over here. Mr. Sahai, we are looking at a hard landing that has been reported by the Air India aircraft at Phuket. While all other flights have been diverted and the passengers are safe, how often do we see these hard landings? Because it did damage the nose landing gear of the aircraft and it could have perhaps jeopardized the safety of all the passengers on board.
Yeah, hard landing, good afternoon. Hard landing with the nose seems to be a very rare phenomena, because hard landing, normally the initial impact is of the rear gears, and thereafter the nose gear comes down slowly. So if the rear gear has touched the runway smoothly and the nose gear has impacted in a hard manner, that shows some problem with the controls also. It should not be. The nose gear normally doesn't have hard landing. There's a very unusual incident I'm listening to. And if the nose gear, if the tire has gone off from the assembly, that's a serious issue, because this could have caused the fire also, because the metallic pieces of the undercarriage, they scrap the runway, and it leads to sometimes leads to fire also. So thankfully this has not happened and all passengers are safe, but it must have damaged the runway and the aircraft. I have no doubt about this, but this brings out the issues related to the maintenance. The DGCA will have to check thoroughly. Was there any malfunctioning reported on this particular aircraft in the previous sorties or in the previous checks? That has to be checked thoroughly. Yes.
Sir, you're telling me that this could have been an inherent problem with the aircraft that went undetected when the passengers boarded the flight and the flight took off. This could have been avoided, Mr. Sahai, if preliminary checks were done with the aircraft and this could have been detected?
See, all mandatory preliminary checks are done before the takeoff. That must have taken place, I'm sure. But how credible were the checks? Was the check carried out properly? This is to be checked. This is to be checked by DGCA. Number one. Number two, the undergear assembly, the touching down of the rear wheel, if the nose impacts so hard, this is a cause of concern. This may be a problem related to the flight controls also, because the pilot is supposed to bring the nose down slowly. This is related to the aircraft control. And if the control has not worked, then this is a serious issue with the flight control system. Otherwise, if it is a manual landing and manually, because of pilot error or something, if the nose has come down heavily, with that kind of impact, the nose wheel should not veer off. This is very unusual. This will the
Yes, we are
investigation.
playing out these visuals on our screens right now, and it's not that passengers who travel or take flights often do not come across hard landings, but to an extent where the landing gear gets damaged, it scrapes off the runway. These visuals are on our screens right now. It did emit certain smoke as well, and it could have put the passengers' lives at risk. Mr. Sahai, are you trying to tell me this could have been a human error? Or could the controls may have malfunctioned despite the checks that took place in Hyderabad?
Could be either, because could be the problem with the aircraft, or could be problem with the pilot not to put the nose wheel down smoothly. Could be either.
Okay. But what happens in these circumstances? What is the SOP then?
The SOP with regard to the incident is that immediately the the emergency exits are opened. The chute, the rubber chute is chutes are deployed, and the passengers are supposed to vacate immediately out of the aircraft, because there is a possibility of aircraft catching fire, because this fuel tank is normally at the bottom of the fuselage. So it's a serious issue. So the passengers are immediately taken out from that as far away as possible from the aircraft. And it creates some admin issue also, because if the emergency is not declared in advance, people are not ready, and the passengers, after embarking and getting out of the chute through the emergency exit, they start running here and there. So the airside operations at the airport is also, they have to work hard to put the passengers at a safer place and take them back to the tarmac. Yes.
Okay. So you're trying to tell me, Mr. Sahai, that this was a narrow escape? It could have been fatal. There could have been fire that could be reported if the pilot would not have acted in time, perhaps. But why did this exactly happen? It does beg an investigation. DGCA will have to look into it. Despite the preliminary checks, how could these controls lead to the hard landing that may have jeopardized the safety of all those passengers who were on board? But for now, even the tarmac seems to be, the runway seems to be damaged through it, because we saw those visuals on the screens right now, which shows how the landing gear scrapes off certain part of the runway. Mr. Sahai still continues to be with us. Mr. Sahai, of course, there has been the immediate flights that have been diverted right now to the nearby airports, or whether it's Krabi or the other airports right now. But it's bound to impact the air traffic towards the evening as well, because the backlog of the flights will continue. This will lead to further inconvenience the passengers.
Yeah, not only inconvenience to the passengers, but it causes serious financial loss to the airport authority there also, because the diversion of flights, it incurs a lot of financial load on the airlines as well as the airport. So there is no doubt this is a serious matter, and nose wheel collapsing is definitely a serious matter. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Sahai, please kindly stay with us. We've gotten this exclusive visuals from one of the passengers who were on board. We are going to be playing this out on our screens right now. Those visuals are on your screens right now, which shows how there was a panic reported at the Phuket airport itself. Authorities are pressing in all rescue operations to ensure the safe passage of all the passengers who were on board. They were all deboarded immediately following the hard landing that damaged the landing gear of the aircraft. Mr. Sahai, the aviation expert, was telling us this could have been fatal, because it would have landed to either an explosion or fire, since the oil tank area is right there. Why did this exactly happen? This is a fit case for the DGCA to investigate. But my colleague Sabyasachi continues to be with us. Sabyasachi, we've gotten this visuals that we are playing on our screens right now. Take us through what exactly is being shown in these visuals that has been captured by the passenger moments after landing.
captured shows that how moments before the hard landing happened. Now, as per the initial investigation, the nose wheel was damaged because of hard landing. That's what we are picking from the DGCA sources. Meanwhile, the aircraft has been shifted to a bay where the further investigation is going on, and also we are learning that some of the incoming flights to Phuket has been shifted to a nearby airport in Krabi, and continuously the authorities have informed that the incoming flights to Phuket can be diverted to nearby airports, or they can face delays. Meanwhile, NOTAM also has been issued till on the Phuket landing space as well, and clearly so far from the visuals what we are seeing that the aircraft took a hard landing which caused a damage at the nose wheel, and the passengers, total 131 passengers.
Captain Dhalla, thank you for taking our time and joining me over here at News9. We are breaking this piece of information for our viewers right now. We are playing out this exclusive visual that was captured by one of the passengers soon after the hard landing that took place of the Air India Express at the Phuket, after which the passengers were deboarded safely. But the landing gear, the nose landing gear of the aircraft did suffer damages. The runway did suffer damages. It's been shut right now. Mr. Sahai was earlier with us, who's also an aviation expert, and he goes on to say that this may happen either due to manual controls or due to the control that may have a malfunction, because such an impact of the hard landing had been hardly seen. Captain Dhalla, what do you have to say about it?
Well, this kind of an aviation incident is rarely seen. Again, the Boeing manufacturer is top of the town. Now, we must understand for the sake of viewers that whenever an aircraft lands, it lands on the main landing gear first. The first impact is always on the main landing gear, which is underneath the belly of the aircraft. Thereafter, the nose landing gear of the aircraft comes down. Now, if this is again a matter of investigation, if the pilot has adopted the right protocol, the right standard operating procedures, then the impact should be that the major part of that impact, even if it's so a hard landing, should have been taken by the main landing gear. Then subsequently, the nose landing gear should have come down. If it is the reverse, that is the nose landing gear taking the impact first and the main landing gear taking the impact second, then such kind of a phenomena can occur. Having said that, these aircrafts have proper sensors inside the aircraft which give the feedback to the pilots. So it is a matter of investigation that whether the pilots faced an error message, a warning or a caution message for this nose landing gear, yet they attempted a landing, or it was a manual error on the part of the pilot in terms of how the landing technique was used.
What landing techniques were used? You were telling us about that, but as far as the fitness of the aircraft is concerned, Captain Dhalla, can we say that the preliminary checks were done and it was satisfying?
Well, it was a long flight from Hyderabad to Phuket. The technicians, the engineers would have given a release to service of the aircraft while the aircraft took off at Hyderabad. No pilot would undertake a flight which is having an issue. Having said that, there is another terminology in aviation which is called as the minimum equipment list, MEL. Was this nose landing gear or any part of the landing gear under some kind of an anomaly? Has to be checked by the regulator. I'm sure the operator will provide all assistance if in case the issue, like we have dealt in the past regarding Boeing, if the issue is at a higher level, it has to be escalated to prevent such kind of issues and occurrences in future.
But you're telling us that this is not a natural phenomena and this is a narrow escape, Captain Dhalla, because there were several passengers on board. We are playing out those visuals on our screens right now that has been exclusively accessed by News9, which was made by the passenger soon after the landing took place. And this could have been fatal for several other passengers as well. This is something that begs an investigation immediately, Captain Dhalla.
Absolutely right. The Civil Aviation Authority of Thailand, along with the Directorate, should form a joint body and they would look into this situation at a very micro level. And it is a collusion of various events which leads to such kind of occurrences and incidences. We have to see the pilots, we have to see the aircraft, and also we have to see the airport. Whether the weather was also a contributing factor, whether there was hydroplaning on the runway or the aircraft veered or skidded, what could have been the reason? There are multiple aspects which the investigators will look into. Having said that, it is primarily dependent upon the landing technique, whether it is a hard landing or whether it was a landing as per the SOP. That has to be looked, which the flight data recorder, I'm sure the operator would have downloaded the data by now, and they would come up with a statement before the regulator.
We're playing out these visuals, Captain Dhalla, on our screens right now, which shows smoke emitting from that particular aircraft. We are also showing how certain part of the runway gets scraped off after that hard landing that took place. Mr. Sahai earlier was also mentioning that this is an expensive event even for the airport to bear the cost for it, for the repairs of the runway. Until then, of course, all of the flights that were set to land at Phuket has been diverted to the nearby airports, and the air traffic is bound to be impacted by it. Captain Dhalla, what can be the learning from this, and how long does it take for the air traffic to stabilize its operation thereafter?
You see, the aircraft is a narrow body aircraft, Boeing 737. It has landed on the main runway at Phuket Airport. Phuket Airport is not having back activities. However, there is a lot of international traffic which comes to this part of the world. So the airport authorities and the aerodrome authorities will do a quick check first of the feasibility of further takeoffs and landings. And the site where the impact has taken place is also cordoned off for the investigators and the safety experts to see what is there in the debris. And thereafter the report will be filed, which is very integral for the entire aviation spectrum, not just for the Boeing 737, but for all kinds of manufacturers.
Okay, point taken, Captain Dhalla. But given the situation right now, what does it look like as far as the investigation is concerned? What is your assessment? You've been a operation inspector. From the looks of it, what do you feel could have been the cause for it?
Well, prima facie, it looks to me that the first information report should be taken from the pilot's perspective. What was the landing technique? What was the weight of the aircraft? Was it within the permissible landing weight limits? What was the center of gravity? How the aircraft was loaded? And please understand, this happened at the last phase of the flight, which is the landing. It is not the case of a takeoff or a cruise. It is just at the last bit. So we have to see exactly what were the human factors involved. Was it a pilot error? Was it a technical fault? If it was, if there was some caution or warning message given to the pilot pertaining to the nose landing gear, these all issues have to be checked. And these are state-of-the-art aircrafts. It is all computerized. We have a lot of computers, a lot of sensors involved in this aircraft. And the report should come out before the public for better understanding and to keep the safety culture active.
Thank you so much, Captain Prashant Dhalla, for taking your time and joining me over here and sharing your insight as a former operations inspector at the GGCA. My esteemed guest, Alok Sahai, aviation expert, still continues to be with us. Even the weather needs to be factored in. And how was the runway behaving given the weather that was prevalent at that point in time? How much of an effect does the weather has when it comes to these hard landing that has taken place in Phuket?
Yeah, hard landing caused by weather and other phenomena also occurs. But it is very apparent because what was the weather there? If the weather conditions are not reported adverse, if there are no water on the runway, then this type of incident caused by weather is not likely. It's very unlikely in my opinion. What must have occurred, I tell you, that the attitude of the aircraft at the time of landing, as the inspector was also saying, that the attitude remains such that the bottom, the rear wheels has to touch the runway first. Then after a while, slowly the nose wheel is lowered. Nose side is lowered. And then the nose wheel touches. So in that case of a scenario, if the attitude is appropriate, then there is no chance of nose wheel having a heavy landing. A heavy landing. Heavy landing occurs only with the rear wheels. But here in this case, if the nose wheel has gone off, and if this is to be seen whether there was a heavy landing of the nose, whether the nose was brought down fast, like a thud, then it can happen. But if it comes down like that, could be because of manual malfunction, or could be manual error, or could be a technical malfunction of the aircraft control systems. Number one. Number two, even if the nose wheel, sometimes what happens that when the pilot lowers the all wheels before landing on the finals, so he gets an indication that all the three wheels are down and locked. So once the wheels come down, they get locked in the down position, and the pilot gets an indication in the cockpit. Did he get that indication in the cockpit that all three wheels are down and locked? If it is not locked, then also this type of incident can happen, because upon the impact, the wheel, if the wheel is not in a proper conditions, down and locked, then it can sustain this kind of injury. So all these things will come out in the investigations. Yes.